Hello, good evening, and welcome to the awards show for Burger and Brewfest 2020. Taking a pause on the rankings and letting that top five wait just a little bit longer to tell you some of the other things that we think are worthy of mention. Some prizes and some, well, no prizes, but some awards for places that did something really, really well. Bunch of different categories. We're going to start with the most original idea. Not necessarily in execution, but in concept. A couple of contenders here. St. John's Fish Exchange had a really interesting plan with their fish on fish, the calamari and the tarragon panko cod. It was beautiful to look at as well. Also, the Governor with their English breakfast burger was, I think, a more original idea than the Newfoundland breakfast burger they did last year. But considering that they did two breakfast burgers, kind of damages that a bit. And of course, Mill Street, because they put theirs on a donut, or two donuts. So that also has to be called out. But I think the winner here is definitely Chinched, because their burger was essentially ramen. It was a ramen-themed burger. It had noodles in the patty. It came with ramen broth to dip it in. Just a great, great idea. And definitely worthy of calling out for that. Let's move on to the best topping. Not including sauces, these are just things that were on the burger. And again, some contenders. The Rooms had a rabbit and pale ale relish that really defied a good description. It had little berries, which I believe were partridge berries. They were tart. It had some sweetness, as you'd expect from a relish. And the consistency and texture of the rabbit really acted as a counterpoint to the patty, giving you a nice topping that worked on several different levels and added multiple layers of flavor. Exile had a really nice pico de gallo that had corn in it. I love corn, and I didn't know I needed it on burgers, but now I want it on all my burgers. It was just really, really good. And Blue on Water had an onion bhaji burger. I will eat onion bhaji anytime you put it in front of me. When your burger is Indian themed, putting it on there instead of actual onion is genius. But again, the prize here has to go to Chinched for their soy pickled tempura mushrooms. Unreal. 5 of us went to get this burger. 3 of those 5 do not like mushrooms, and all of them wanted more of those mushrooms. So not only did it work for people who enjoyed the mushrooms, but people who normally wouldn't like them ended up liking it. So I don't know how you can get a better recommendation than that. Biggest surprise in terms of a positive surprise. Places that we didn't expect a lot from, or that we expected to be pretty mediocre and ended up exceeding those expectations. I think Chess's is one I want to call out here. We expected this to be the bottom of the barrel, honestly. And although it still wasn't highly ranked, the fact that I would eat it again is far more than any of us expected. O'Reilly's actually was a huge surprise. I didn't even know that they served food. But to get a burger with not only great flavors and a degree of originality, but also worldly tastes, like influence from Australia, from the UK, putting all of that on a burger from a place that we weren't even aware of has to make it a big surprise. And I also want to mention the Garden Grill here. As a hotel restaurant in a new hotel, it made it into the top 10, so I don't know how I expected it to finish, but it certainly wasn't that high. But the biggest surprise, I think, goes to Finn McCool's. That burger was really, really good. And chain restaurants in general don't tend to do so well in these competitions. Their menus get dictated from their national headquarters or international in some cases. So to come up locally with this idea and execute it so well on a menu that's next to a bunch of stuff that they make hundreds of times a week really deserves to have some sort of mention and recognition. The other side of that coin, though, is the biggest letdown. And unfortunately, there are a few contenders for this as well. I think View needs to be mentioned here, mainly because it's a beautiful restaurant. The menu is very impressive. and the burger sounded great, but it ended up being just okay. And we really wanted more than that from a burger that had so much potential going in. On a similar level, Piatto Downtown gave us last year's burger with no changes. And considering how good the Midtown version was, which is a completely new concept, to repeat a burger is a big letdown. And also Gypsy Tea Room. Every time we've eaten there and it wasn't a burger, it's been really good. But the last two occasions they've been in the burger battle now have just been massive letdowns. We had our friend Katie went there separate from us and had a completely different set of problems. So really that's 3 different occasions that the burger has been a complete letdown. The biggest disappointment though, and this one was close, was Clancy's. Not because it didn't deliver as much as we expected, but because the description of the burger should have put it in the top 10. But it was just so watered down. It just disappointed on almost every ingredient. And yeah, that's basically the definition of what we're doing here. The best sauce. This was a 2-horse race, and those 2 horses were really close to each other. A couple of other contenders before we get to those top 2. I really enjoyed the hot sauce at Mill Street, the lingonberry hot sauce. I could sit down and eat that with a spoon. Also, the sauce on the impeachment burger at Green Door was very good. This, though, was between Piatto Midtown and Adelaide Oyster House. And they both went with a cheese sauce. Adelaide with a jalapeno queso. And Piatto Midtown had this hugely long description, which was essentially balsamic mushrooms in a cheese sauce. And the mushrooms are what's going to make the difference here. And we're going to give this to Piatto Midtown by a hair over Adelaide Oyster House. They were really close, and I would gladly just sit down and spoon those into my face all day. But the mushrooms in the sauce at Piatto make the difference there. Best New Find. This is a restaurant that we will be going back to based solely on what we saw on the menu in this competition. Bunch of different places here. Hungry Heart definitely surprised us to a degree, but also we'd heard so many good things about it. It wasn't that big of a surprise. The menu looked good, though. We'll be going back to that one. View also looked like great restaurant to visit. And Terre in the old hotel, despite the burger being not for me unpleasant, but not for everybody else. Definitely somewhere we want to go again. But the winner here was the Rooms. I didn't even know they had a restaurant. And if you had told me they had a restaurant, I would have assumed it was a cafe that did, donuts and coffees and sandwiches. No. Their restaurant menu looks phenomenal. And I really wish they were open more evenings so that we could get in there. The best name. I do love me a good pun. I do love me a good joke. So we had to make this a category. Adelaide's, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, not the which came first, but the chicken or the egg burger. Really smart. PJ Billington with the Chickageddon 2020. Allegedly a take on Snowmageddon 2020. But given what's happening in the world right now, it seems like it was also prophetic. And Green Door with their impeachment burger and Trump Tower. This extended into their description as well, which was a really, really well-written piece of copy. But the winner has to be Blue, right? Curry on my wayward bun. Just, phenomenal. Speaking of bun, we have an award for Best Buns. And the winner is Sarah! I mean, it is, but, you can't put a burger on. Let's leave that joke there. Bernard Stanley, the pretzel bun held up. And given how much was loaded onto that bun, that is an achievement and needs to be recognized. Celtic Hearth gave us a molasses bun, which really worked well with most of the ingredients. The bread and butter pickles kind of damaged that a bit because you had too much sweetness, as we said earlier. Water West's bun was just delicious, and I don't know how they managed to have everything fit so perfectly on there, but there was no overflow, nothing, and it was just, But the winner, as it will be until they stop making it, was the pizza dough bun at both Piattos. It was the only good thing on the bun it was the only good thing on the downtown burger, and I love pizza dough buns. They are so good. I don't know why more places don't do it. And finally, we have the Kids' Choice Awards, both Abby's Ace and Sammy's Selection, or Sammy's Star, I should say. Sammy's Star was Mill Street Brew Pub with the donut. She really enjoyed that one. And Abby went with Piatto Midtown with an honorable mention to Tear. So those are our awards. The top 5 will be up tomorrow. Look out for that one. You will see who actually takes home the coveted No Prize at All. But I'm really looking forward to showing that and sharing that with you all. So thanks very much for joining us. Stay home, stay safe, hug your loved ones, and we will talk to you soon.